Why don't you let me rock your world? No, serious, I have so much. Look at it. Please take some. Please. It's a beautiful morning out here at the river house. Reminds me a lot of visiting my grandparents in Anacortes or Ocean Shores when I was a kid. That thick, damp, chilly sort of air. Nostalgic. I'm taking a break from diving into the mud hole that is the septic install to get out here and have a little look-see at the air cleaner prototype. I ended up abandoning the idea of using excuse me, the spare air cleaners out of the army trucks, even though I got some brand new ones because they're just so big. Instead, the one out of the excavator is really nice. It's going to fit in a bucket, which I hope to use as the housing. Perfect. The problem is, it's like the most expensive air cleaner in the world. It's over $100. Twice what the army truck filters are, and they're twice as big. But whatever, I'll end up with some used ones out of the excavator, and Lord knows this thing doesn't pull that much air. So I just need to sort of mock it up in there and make sure that I got room for the things I need room for. Then, off to the mud hole. Just like that. We're in like Flynn. As long as Flynn had vague but rather serious concerns that his air cleaner was too close to his muffler. Twins. The sheep are out. Look at that zoomage. Don't mind me. It's an earthquake. I like seeing the sheep. I specifically like seeing the sheep over there. My understanding is they're rather mean and head-buddy. So they'd be over there, we'll be over here. I'm not a sheepist or anything. I just like them over there, not over here. Not a fan of the head-buddy part. Alright, all I need to do is continue this arrow straight horizon bisecting sewer line here. Give that pipe a wee bit of a curl and continue it to that back wall. Oh, that's that spot I couldn't dig in between, and I was too careful. I was being too careful not to go too deep, and I should have been a little more careful to go deep enough. But we'll get it dug up one way or another. I'm half tempted to bring the backhoe up here and just dig more of it. That'd be done a lot faster, even if it'd be an uglier ditch. But I got some of the ditch graded. You can see there's a bit of a kicker right there at the end. I got some of it graded until I ran out of light that one day with Shay. Dig it up, pipe, go. I have a T, so the idea is somewhere out in here at some point I would love to have a shop big enough to, you know, concrete floor, big enough to work on cars. And I was thinking of putting a stub line out and burying it out there just so that I had something to tie into if I ever wanted to put, say, a sink in there. So I might do that, and then I've got a clean out T for that far side and a 90 to go up the hill. Should be good to go. I think it's entirely possible I forgot to push the record button. So if that's true, what you're about to see is magic. She's in. I continued my rigid adherence to an arrow straight shitter tube. She is in. Everything is sloped at or above, though not much above because I wanted to keep my depth down, at or above the 1/4 per foot mark. Here's a stub out. I'm just going to bury it. That'll be for if someday I ever put a building here, and if that building ever needs to be hooked up to sewer, I have something I can dig up and go into conveniently without having to worry about the main line. Tapping into the main line sucks. And then I have this, which is going to be a buried clean out. I went back and forth on that, whether I glue the cap on or not. I don't expect to ever need it. The wall is going to be right here, so that will be right in front of the wall, which should dramatically limit my ability to drive a giant piece of equipment over the top of it and shove the whole thing down into Hades somewhere. As long as I don't drive a giant piece of equipment off of it in the course of making the wall. But I think we'll be able to figure that out. I'm left with just this last 10-foot vertical to stand up right there. It's going to go up 10 feet, and then it'll go into the terraces. I know the order seems weird. I can't get rid of the dirt. I need to build the wall and then use the dirt from the terraces to backfill the wall in order to have the room to then dig out the house foundation. If it was yours, we'd do it in your order. It's mine, I'm doing it in mine. So, one interesting thing I found is I found a buried ground level. Really old. Actually, I think I found two of them. So you can see there's kind of a barkish layer right there. That was exposed ground level long enough for it to build some duff, you know, some pine needles and organic matter. And then it got layered over by this, but you can see from the marks, this is a natural layering. This isn't the action of somebody with a bulldozer 70 years ago. So I thought that was kind of cool. I think that brown spot is possibly a stump or a root that rotted away and then backfilled with some clay. I don't know. It was kind of cool. Train. There must be something wrong with the tracks. They are running one right after another on our line. Well, assuming you didn't get to see any of that pipe, I guess you can watch me stand the last one. Cool. I am not a big fan of having that giant PVC wiener sticking up in the air right there. Well, for the moment, in theory, she's starting up, and I can turn my attention to backfilling it. I really don't like that. We'll get her all figured out. Hey, at least I know it all runs downhill. That's probably good enough, and the rest, we'll wing it. I just couldn't stand my big phallic monstrosity there, so I pulled the Lorena and I cut her down. I like this much, much, much better. I know I said I would never think on camera, but here we are. Anyways, of course it was, I'm sure, obvious to absolutely everybody. Got two 45s in here, got a piece of pipe spread out, tucking it against that back wall. I didn't like that I'd have so much stuff come down between the two. I don't have coupling now, and this was my last piece of 20 foot, so I can't exactly I can't exactly saw the end off one and go back up, so I guess this is as high as it's going to be for right now. And I like it because, you know, there isn't quite as much of a direct fall. Not that I was too worried about it hitting the bottom and having too much impact, but now this is going to slow it down. And you know, all the books say a 45 is the same as a 90, and it'll break up the riders. Yeah, give the kids a chance to on their way down to the pool. I think that's good. I believe what I'm going to do now is get a small measured amount of water and dump it down there, and we'll see if it shows up at the other end. I hope it shows up at the other end. Alright. That's actually not much water, which is what I want. I want to know if there's a problem. I want that little bit of water to flow all the way down here on its own. Oh dear. Okay, so clearly I beat it. Success. There it is. There's that little bit of water. Alright, what I did is I measured, and I've got it on both sides and on the main pipe, the distance between here and my shop stub and my clean out, because I figured the chances of not remembering where they are basically 100%. So at least now I'll be able to line up. I'll be able to line up and get close. I also found this. Look at that. Caught my eye because it was the only piece of bright orange color I've ever seen out here. It's a relatively soft kind of orange sandstony rock. Looks a lot like brick, but it wasn't. I was just sharing. Well, we're done. I wish it went better than that. You know, Danny and Shay showed up. I guess he was being a little Richard Cranium even before they got out here, but his behavior certainly didn't improve when it got here. I cannot abide lazy people. And he just straight up pulling the cover so we can inspect inside the septic tank just to visually confirm that everything's all okay. He throws a giant chunk of ice down inside the filter housing. Trying to pack the whatever, and he's using an old golf club to hit mud, and it's spraying all over all. Anyways. I probably could have handled it better. I banished him in here and made him sit in a chair, and, you know, I just told him, I don't care where you go, but he can't be here. So, we'll chat about it when we get home. It is all in. It's all covered up. Water's been poured down it. Pipe drains. Everything seems to work fine. I'm exhausted. Oh, that tamper sucks. I mean, it works good doing what it does, but that motion, gah. But it's in now, so I guess next on the agenda, I'm sitting down. Oh. Next on the agenda, Feels good. Next on the agenda, I need to get the rock crusher back up in service, which means cleaning out the inside of the head the best I can. I'm not going to worry too much about it. I think I'm going to use a little diesel fuel as the solvent. I want to leave the inside a little sticky, right? I don't know. Dad suggested motor oil, but basically leave the inside of the head what we can get to a little sticky, and just pin whatever dirt's there, and it'll never be a problem again. Like I said, the air cleaners for the link belt are like, it's over $100. It's almost 3 times the price of the one for the Army truck, and the Army truck filter is twice the size, but it's really convenient sized, and I can get it covered and we can get back up and going. And it's such a big thing, I imagine. The one they got here is a used one, and they must have run fire with it. It's pretty badly plugged. But on the other hand, think of the difference between the two machines, and I'll swap out here pretty soon. I'll swap out and put a new one in the link belt, and then I'll take the link belt used one and put it back in this, and I think we'll be good for a while. I was trying to run the backhoe out of fuel. I almost did, and I was going to yank that fuel water separator thing off and then just get a new one, but you know, I think I'm just gonna make a gasket, not out of a chunk of cardboard, but an actual gasket, and see if I can get it to seal back up again. I was able to locate glass balls glass balls for its doohickey down there out of India, so I've got a new glass dish or a glass settlement bulb for it. It's not on there right now. It's in the truck somewhere. I might have already lost it. Anyways, out of India, they're pretty cheap, and you know, the votive candle's still working, so I just left it alone. It drips a little when it's turned on. So does everything else. It's fine. I think that's it. Get that rock crusher back up and going. I really need to put some rock crush base down on some of the road driveway. It is just falling apart. We've been able to determine that there's a couple other big rock slabs that are pretty close to the surface, and they super saturate. You know, they super saturate during this time of year, and it just needs rock on it. So I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna have a long talk with a little boy where I need to talk about my temper and why I could have done it better, and talk about why his behavior is just absolutely not going to be acceptable. Then I'm going to take a shower, and then I'm going to eat a stale donut and possibly have a glass of wine. I got some plans. First, I have to stand up. Thanks for watching.